Hi, I'm TJ Campbell. I'm the Tire Information and Testing Manager at the Tire Rack, and today we're very excited to have our first ever in-person TJ Talking. This is where we have the opportunity to talk to industry experts about tires. Today we have Bakari Howard and Tsuyoshi Johnson, who also goes by TJ, from Falken Tire. Let's go on in and meet our guests. Why don't you guys tell us what you do, or a little bit about what you do?
So I'm basically the corporate trainer for Falken Tire, handled training development for not only our dealers, but a lot of times our consumers as well. So at events, and just really talking about the brand, the products, how they work, who our competitors are, what's on the horizons. On top of that, we have a digital kind of television channel we have.
Oh, okay, so you're used to this kind of thing.
Yeah, the mic'd up thing. So it's nice because we can convey a message to our dealers directly in their showrooms on what our products do. So that's been really good. It's a great way to communicate, a little bit more than just, because I can't be everywhere at once.
Of course.
So having that digital asset we have really kind of educates the broad masses of individuals, both consumers and dealers.
And TJ, what about you?
I'm in product planning, and I'm responsible for creating a roadmap for all of our passenger car tire lines for the Falken brand. That includes everything from winter tires to touring tires to UHP tires. And in doing so, I create concepts for new products, work with our R&D group, and we develop tires and bring them to market.
Understood. So you kind of influence and really guide the ship for basically every product, passenger car product that consumers would drive on, from touring tires all the way up to Falken Azenis RT660, which we're talking about today. So with RT660, was the goal for it to be the absolute fastest? What was the picture for the development of the tire?
For the development or the concept of the RT660 was to take the opportunity to kind of go back to the front of the pack, make a good sprint tire for competition that gives people the opportunity to get the best lap times in whatever sanctioned events that they're competing in. And during the development, we're happy to say that we were able to reach the targets that we were going after. And that's kind of where we communicate with the consumers who've tried our products and really enjoy it.
Can you, either of you gents, talk about the tires that you benchmarked while RT660 was being developed?
The intent was to go after the best in the market. At that time, it was Bridgestone's RE71R tire. Of course, since then, while we were in development, there were other competitors who launched tires also that are really popular out there in the market right now. But in terms of performance, we were really going after the RE71R.
Which is smart, because that was the benchmark in
Top of the food chain
at the time. Yep, absolutely. RT660 is directional pattern. Now we're seeing other products on the market that seem to be shifting to an asymmetric pattern. Tell me about the choice on directional versus asymmetric for the pattern for RT660.
So performance-wise, I think you can go either direction and reach the performance targets that you are setting out to reach. In this instance, we did choose a directional pattern because we felt that it gives the user the opportunity to not just rotate, but you would have to dismount the tire, the wheel assembly, and remount it on the other side. But in doing so, you'd be able to flip it into either position that you need it to,
right,
for more even wear and longer life.
Yeah, you can put that inboard shoulder to the outboard, and now you're kind of resetting the clock a little bit, because especially in stock classes, camber limited, you're just going to eat up the outboard shoulder. So now if it's a directional, you have two outboard shoulders in theory.
Increase the life a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about RT615, then RT615K, then K+. That was a tire that was just updated over and over and over again throughout its life. Do you envision RT660 following the same pattern? Do you have thoughts towards the future?
Absolutely. In this segment, one thing that we've learned from our experience with the RT615K Plus is the fact that it's very competitive, right? People who play in that segment are always gunning for the best. If you have a good tire out there that's performing well, then you typically have a target on your back. So this time around, even right after launching the RT660, we made it a point to continue to develop that tire to make improvements that we can then launch 2 to 3 years out.
What kind of attributes would you be looking to upgrade with a change to the tire? Like what is, with what you see, how RT660 performs on the market now, if you could change something, what would you focus on?
So right now the thought is to make it a more driver-friendly tire.
Okay.
From the feedback we're getting is it provides a lot of good cornering power, but I think we have opportunities to improve the product, is to make it kind of a more balanced tire, front to rear axle in a vehicle, just to make sure that they're working in tandem to kind of give the driver a little bit more controllability or drivability out of that tire.
You were with us the first time we tested RT660 on our track, and that was, part of our download. And that was one of the things that we talked about, was it's just always there in the back of your mind. It's like, RT660, it is fast, it is capable, but it always feels like maybe I'm right on the edge.
Agreed. And I feel like, going from an era where the RE71R was kind of the top dog, the consumers that really liked that Bridgestone tire, it seemed to be a well-balanced tire. Then in comes the RT660. It was more of a cornering, power-focused tire, to where they may not be quite used to the feel or how the tire performs. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. So after a few attempts in driving on the tire, I think people will get accustomed to it, and they'll find out that they're able to produce these faster lap times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just saw with seat time, right? Like the more comfortable you get with it, the faster you're gonna become. I mean, to your point, and even like the staff that's been driving on it, I feel like now that they kind of know the limit, but it is new tire. It's tough as you're on your application, you maybe use something else and you're trying this and you're just like, how far can I go?
Yeah, and it has huge grip, and it changes directions so immediately that it can feel like you might overdo it a little bit. And so, like TJ was saying, and once you get used to that and you learn how to maximize it, it becomes
it's kind of a reward though.
Absolutely.
I think when you're able to push further than you thought you could, and you have the trust in the tire, it's just kind of like, that's kind of how you become faster, right? When you start to see the lap times come down is when you're continually pushing the threshold. And it's almost to the limit, right?
Right. It's like you've tamed it. Like you have conquered it. It's that sense of accomplishment sort of thing. That it's a great tire to drive, and it's a great tire to master. Speaking of it being a great tire, is Falken happy with the way it's performing out there in the marketplace? Are you pleased with the results that you're seeing from it?
I think overall, from what I've seen, and a lot of the individuals that we kind of support with the product, they've continuously got faster in their respective chassis and continue to push the limit. So I think in that aspect, a lot of people are happy with it, and it seems to be on various platforms, whether it's front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive. Everyone seems to be really happy with the tire, and they're learning the tire, right? So they're understanding where the tire strong suits are. It's like now we just focus on really vehicle setup at that point to see who's going to be faster.
Absolutely. Speaking of solo spec coupe, SCCA, the autocross class, is Falken in general. You're pleased with that partnership? Is that something that you'd like to see continue moving forward? And I guess before I ask that, let's just talk about how did that get started? How did Falken decide that you would be that was a good fit for you with the original RT615K Plus?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, it definitely was exposure, right? I think to get people in front of our product and understand how it worked. Those are the individuals that are seeing track days all the time, right? So they're hypersensitive to what tires are doing. So if we can get in front of the decision makers per se that are gonna give us the best feedback, it was definitely a good thing. And I think that now that we've progressed onto the 660, you're starting to see people could become even faster with our product in that class.
From what I've seen, those that adopted RT660, the drivers, the solo spec coupe drivers, kind of giving RT660 their stamp of approval, or saying, hey, yeah, we are paxing, much closer to where we feel like we should be, as opposed to when we were on RT615K Plus. It just like signals that, hey, yes, this is a good tire, and it's broad adoption of it.
And I think that's the beauty of having the 615K Plus around and the 660, right? Because essentially those are two different individuals, right? Because you can have a person that has a 615K Plus that is like casually do track days, right? And I need a tire that if I do 4 track days a year, I get a free weekend, I can go enjoy, and I just want to have fun. I just want to be with my friends and have fun. But the 660s are like, I want to be the fastest thing
Serious
out there,
business.
which are two different individuals that go to the track, essentially, right? You know, like that's the beauty of the Azenis family of products, I think, and having those two live together is great because it checks the boxes on the most high level of driving individual, and the person just casually goes to the track and just wants to release some stress.
Yep.
In addition to that, in terms of the applications of those two tires, you have the RT660, which is a sprint tire, right, to get the fastest lap. But then now we have another 200 tread wear tire in the RT615K Plus that kind of suits individuals that are doing the longer endurance races, right, because of the wear capability of that tire.
Right. Honestly, we get really good wear out of RT660 as well. It wouldn't do, you know, with the wear we see from it, it wouldn't do like 2 10-hour races in a weekend, but it wears.
It holds its own.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
It really, really does. One thing that I wanted to ask about that I forgot earlier, RT660 had that kind of last minute compound change right before it came out. Can you tell me and anybody viewing why or what the reasoning was for that?
Again, we intended for this product to catch on immediately, or plan for this RT660 to be a successor to the RT615K Plus. So we knew the popularity of the 615K Plus, so we needed this tire to get it right on all levels. Not just the capability or lap times of the tire, but also wear. Okay. Right, so we felt that as we kind of got to the tail end of development, that perhaps the wear capability wasn't quite there yet. So we wanted to make sure to get that right. Did a quick compound change to kind of prolong the life of the tire a little bit more.
Okay. Since 660 was launched, there have been no changes to it, right?
That's correct.
Okay. That's everything that I had for you guys. You know, thank you so much for being here for our first, you know, in-person TJ Talking. It's great to get both of your knowledge, and thank you so much for your time.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.